Hello viewers. Today we will discuss the Global Talent Visa requirement, with details information. With a Global Talent Visa, you can work in the UK in academia or research, if you are a leader or potential leader in one of the following fields: science, medicine, engineering, humanities, social science. You can also work in the UK on a Global Talent Visa, if you've won an eligible award. In this video, we will discuss the followings: what you can do, or cannot do, with a Global Talent Visa, eligibility, how to apply and application for endorsement, fees and healthcare surcharge, decision. We will also discuss about eligibility, documentation, assessment and application for endorsement of the following: academic or researcher, individual fellowship, UK research and innovation endorsement, peer review, and exceptional talent. What you can do with a Global Talent Visa. Choose how long your visa is for, up to 5 years, be an employee, self-employed and a director of a company. Change or stop doing your job, without telling the Home Office. Bring your partner and children with you as your dependents, if they're eligible. Travel abroad and return to the UK. There are no language or minimum salary eligibility requirements. If you want to stay longer in the UK, you can renew your visa as many times as you like, if you meet the eligibility criteria for extending your stay. Apply to settle permanently in the UK, also known as indefinite leave to remain, if you've lived in the UK for 3 years, and meet the other eligibility requirements. Any time you spend outside the UK, doing research counts towards this time. What you cannot do with a Global Talent Visa. Apply for most benefits, public funds, or the state pension. Work as a sportsperson. If your application is successful, you'll get a full list of what you can and cannot do with a Global Talent Visa. You may be eligible for Global Talent Visa if you have any of the following: an eligible job offer, as an academic or researcher, an individual fellowship, a research grant, that is approved by UK Research and Innovation, UKRI, and an eligible award. Details of the above categories are explained at end of this video. If you do not, you can apply by having your application peer-reviewed, but your application will take longer. If you're not eligible for a Global Talent Visa, there are other ways to work in the UK, for example a skilled work visa. How to apply Global Talent Visa? To get a Global Talent Visa, you need to apply for an endorsement, as well as for the visa itself. You do not need to apply for an endorsement if you've won an eligible award. You can apply for the visa straight away. Applying for an endorsement. You need to apply for an endorsement to prove you are a leader or potential leader in your field. The Home Office will send your application to be reviewed by a UK organisation, endorsing body, with expertise in your field. How you apply depends on whether you have an eligible job offer, as an academic or researcher, have an individual fellowship, have a research grant, that is approved by UK Research and Innovation, UKRI, are getting your application peer-reviewed. You'll usually get a decision about your endorsement within 2 weeks, if you have an eligible academic or research job, individual fellowship or research grant. This is called fast-track endorsement. 5 weeks, if you're having your application peer-reviewed. Application and decision for the visa. There's a separate guide to applying for your Global Talent Visa, including how your partner or child can apply. You usually get a decision about your visa within 3 weeks if you're outside the UK, 8 weeks if you're inside the UK. You may be able to pay to get a faster decision. When you can apply for the visa. You can apply for the Global Talent Visa at the same time as you apply for endorsement, or after you have the endorsement confirmed. If your permission to stay in the UK is about to expire, applying for the visa will extend it until you've been given a decision. The earliest you can apply for a visa is 3 months before you travel. Example: you can apply from 16 March, if you plan to travel on the 15th of June. Fees and healthcare surcharge. It costs £716 to apply. If you're applying based on an endorsement, you'll pay the £716 in two parts. £524 when you apply for the endorsement, £192 when you apply for the visa itself. If you're applying based on an eligible award, you'll pay the full £716 when you apply for the visa. If you're including your partner or children in your application, they'll each need to pay £716. You'll also have to pay the healthcare surcharge, is usually £1,035 per year for each person applying. Academic or researcher. You can get fast-track endorsement for the Global Talent Visa if you have an eligible job offer. As an academic or researcher at an institution approved by the Royal Society, Royal Academy of Engineering and British Academy, check the list of approved research institutions, or the list of officially recognised universities and colleges. If you cannot get endorsement for an eligible job, you may be able to apply another way, for example with an individual fellowship. Eligible jobs. Your job offer will need to involve either being responsible for academic, research or innovation leadership and development, directing or leading an individual or team research or innovation project or program of work. Documents you need to provide. You need to provide both a full job description, a letter from the Director of Human Resources, or equivalent, at the organization where you will work. The letter needs to say all of the following: the name of the position and department where you will work, how the job you've been offered is eligible for this visa, that you've accepted the job offer, that the position was advertised and the application process was an open competition, or if it was not, the reasons why, that you gave at least 2 references, that at least 3 academic, research or innovation representatives interviewed you for the role, that an expert in your field was among the interviewers or consulted about your appointment before you were offered the job. Apply for endorsement. Once you have the documents, you can apply for endorsement. To complete the form, you need to check which endorsing body approves your discipline. You'll usually get a decision on your application within 1 week. Individual fellowship. You can get fast-track endorsement if you have held an eligible fellowship in the last 5 years. The fellowship needs to be approved by the following: Royal Society, for Science and Medicine; British Academy, for Humanities; Royal Academy of Engineering. Check if your fellowship is eligible. You can apply as either a leader in your field, called exceptional talent; potential leader in your field, called exceptional promise. Which one you are depends on the fellowship you have. If your fellowship is not listed or you have another type of grant, you may be able to get endorsement from UK Research and Innovation. Apply for endorsement. You need to provide a copy of your fellowship award letter. Once you have the letter, you can apply for endorsement. To complete the form, you need to check which endorsing body approves your discipline. You'll usually get a decision on your application within 1 week. UK Research and Innovation endorsement. You may be eligible for endorsement if you're working on a research grant or award from a funder approved by UK Research and Innovation, UKRI. Eligibility. Your grant must have been awarded by an organisation on the list of endorsed funders. The organisation employing or hosting you must be approved by UKRI. The organisation must be in the UK, but you can do research abroad. You must also have at least 1 year left on your employment contract or hosting agreement, spend at least half of your time working on the grant, be working on a grant worth at least £30,000 that covers at least 2 years, have either a one-off grant or award or a renewable award with regular peer review. If you're a principal investigator or co-investigator, you can work on more than one grant, as long as in total they make up at least half of your time. Along with your grant or award, you must either lead a unique research or innovation project, contribute to research in developing new technology or methodology, If you're leading on research or a project. If you'll lead a unique research or innovation project, either independently or under acceptable supervision. You must have a PhD or equivalent research experience, including clinical and industrial research. Have actively participated in your relevant field of research within a university, research institution, or industrial setting. You must also either be named on the research grant application, have your job title on the research grant application. If you're contributing to research. If you will contribute to research in developing new technology or methodology, you must have research experience within a university, research institution, or industrial setting. You must also either have a UK bachelor's degree, have an equivalent overseas research degree, have equivalent research experience, including clinical and industrial research. If you've had a career break. If you've recently taken time away from actively participating in your relevant field of research, for example a career break or parental leave, and you'll be returning to your employment, you'll still be eligible for the Global Talent Visa. Documents you need to provide. If your grant or award is on the list of UCRI-approved award databases, you must provide a link to it in your endorsement application. The database must confirm the grant or award is worth at least £30,000 and covers at least 2 years, is either a one-off funding payment or a renewable award with regular peer review. If your grant or award is not included on the database, you'll need a letter from your endorsed funder instead. You also need to provide a letter from the Director of Human Resources, or equivalent, at the organization where you're working. This needs to say all of the following: the name of the position and department where you work, that you have accepted the job offer or hosting agreement, that you are essential to the grant, that you will be spending at least half of your agreed working time on the grant, details of the fair recruitment process, if you were not specifically named on the grant application. You need to provide documents for all grants you're using for your endorsement application. Peer review. If you're not eligible for another route, you may be able to get endorsement by having your application peer reviewed. You can apply for endorsement as either a leader in your field, called exceptional talent, a potential leader in your field, called exceptional promise. Peer review is done by the Royal Society for Science and Medicine, British Academy for Humanities and Social Science, Royal Academy of Engineering for Engineering and Technology. Eligibility. You need to work in an approved research discipline, be an active researcher, for example in a university, research institute or business, have a PhD or equivalent research experience, including industrial or clinical research. You do not need a job offer to apply. To apply through Exceptional Promise, you must also be at an early stage of your career. If you're not eligible for peer review. If you're not eligible for peer review, you may be able to work in the UK another way, for example with a skilled worker visa. Documents you need to provide. You need to provide a copy of your CV. It must outline your career and any publication history, if applicable, be typed, be up to 3 single sides of A4 paper. You must include a letter of recommendation from an eminent person living in the UK who knows you and your work. The endorsing body must judge that the person has internationally recognized expertise in your field. The letter must be about your global talent application. You cannot use a letter that was written for another reason. It must say how the eminent person knows you, they think you show exceptional talent or promise, you would benefit from being in the UK, you would contribute to the UK. It must also explain what plans you have for work in the future. The letter must be typed and dated, be up to 3 single sides of A4 paper, excluding the author's credentials and contact details, be signed by the author, or by someone on behalf of the organization recommending you. Include a telephone number and email address, and the organization's logo and registered address, if applicable. Come with the author's CV, or other proof of their credentials that the endorsing body will accept. Exceptional talent. If you're applying through exceptional talent, you must also include a letter from an eminent person, who is a senior member of a UK organisation. This must be someone who can give an objective assessment of your work, based on their expert knowledge. They do not need to know you personally. The letter must be about your global talent application. You cannot use a letter that was written for another reason. It must say how they think your work shows exceptional talent, say how you would contribute to research and innovation in the UK, include a statement saying which organisation they're a senior member of. The letter must be written by a different person to the one who wrote your letter of recommendation, be typed and dated, be up to 3 sides of A4 paper, excluding the author's credentials and contact details, be signed by the author, include a telephone number and email address. Come with the author's CV, or other proof of their credentials that the endorsing body will accept. Include a statement saying it's not influenced by any personal knowledge of you, although the author can be someone who knows you. How your application will be assessed as exceptional talent. When making a decision on your application, the endorsing body will assess that you meet the eligibility criteria. It will also consider the following factors: your career history, for example, the international reputation and impact of your work, the strength of the statements in your recommendation letter, and of the evidence in support of your application, how you'll contribute to UK research excellence, and to wider society, including to the economy, by being based in the UK. There are other factors they'll consider, depending on if you're applying through exceptional promise or exceptional talent. Exceptional promise. The endorsing body will consider whether you've given enough evidence to show you have the potential to be a future leader in your field, how much extra funding you've secured during, or after, a relevant fellowship, whether you can give evidence of a relevant prize or award for early career researchers, how significant your contribution to your field is, in relation to the career stage you're in, whether you've won what they consider to be a prestigious prize or award, whether you've secured significant funding for your work in the past 10 years, whether you're regarded to be a leader in your field. If your endorsement application is refused, you can ask for a review if you do not think your endorsement application was judged correctly. The review will be done by the endorsing body that looked at your original application. There's no fee. What the review will look at. You can ask the review to look at specific areas, for example, if you think a piece of evidence was not properly looked at, there was a mistake in how your application was processed. If there was nothing wrong with the way the process was followed, your application will not be reconsidered. You cannot give new evidence as part of the review. When you can ask for a review, you need to request the review within 28 days after you get the decision. If your permission to stay in the UK is about to expire, applying for an endorsement review will not extend it. How to ask for a review? Fill in the Global Talent Endorsement Review form and email it to the Home Office. When you'll get a decision? You'll be told by email within 28 days if your review has been successful. If your endorsement application is still refused. If the endorsing body refuses your application for the same reasons as before, you'll get an email. Need to pay the fee again if you make a new application. You cannot ask for another review. If the endorsing body refuses your application for new reasons, you'll get a letter. You can ask for another review based on the new reasons only. Thank you for watching.